Hello and welcome to the part 18 of this video series. In this video, we are going to learn about method parameters. In this video, you will learn what are method parameters. We will see what are the type of parameters that we can use in C#, and we will also see what is difference between an argument and a parameter, and we will see what are named parameter. So this is a list of parameter types that are available in C#. Let's see each of them in Visual Studio. I have opened up my Visual Studio, and for this demo I have created a demo class, and I am calling a start method of my demo class. Because the start method is static method, so I am using the class name and calling the start method directly. So the first parameter type that we have is value type. So let's say we have one method, public static void, and let me call it change value. Okay, this will take a parameter int a, and it will do nothing, but it will just change the value a to 10. Okay, so let's say we have a variable int b that is currently to 5, and I am calling my method change value, and I am passing the parameter b there. Let me print the value of b. So what we are doing here, we are passing the parameter b to change value method, and inside that method we are changing the parameter value a to 10. So let's see what will happen when we run this program. If you see here, 5 is getting printed because value of b is 5. So what is happening here, we have a b variable that is storing the value 5, and currently b value is pointing to the location where we have stored 5 in the memory. And then we pass the b variable to the change value method, and we are passing it to the a variable. So a variable will be created, and we will create a copy of the value which is 5, and then it will be passed. So whatever changes are happening on the a variable are happening at this location, but b is pointing to the some different location. So that's why whatever is happening with the a variable will not impact the value of b, because we have created a copy of b variable and passed that copy to that method. This is called value type parameters. Second type of parameter that we have, that is reference type. Let me do a small change. In front of int, I will put ref keyword, and now we can see we are getting one error message here. It says argument 1 must be passed with the ref keyword. So because we have the ref keyword here, it means reference. We have to pass the variable here with ref keyword again. Okay, so what is happening here? We are passing the variable b as a reference. We are not passing the value of b, we are passing the reference of b variable. Let's see what will happen when I run the program. This time we can see 10 is getting printed. So this time what happened, we have this variable 5 and b was pointing to it. When we passed this b variable to the change value method, it created a variable a that is pointing to the same memory location, that is 5, because we have passed the reference of the b. So whatever memory location b was having, same was copied to a. That's why it is pointing to the same memory location, and we have 5 there. And when we changed variable a to 10, it means it will change the value at this location. The value will get changed to 10. That's why when we printed the value at line number 14, b value was 10. So if you remember, in the value type, b value was not impacted and it remained 5. In reference type, it changed to 10 because we have passed the reference of the variable. Third type of variable are out type variable. Let's suppose we have a method. I will call it calculate. It will take two parameters, int a, int b, and let's say instead of returning void, I will return the sum of these two variables. So I will change my return type to integer. And what I can do, I can use the return keyword and I can return a plus b. It will add up two numbers. It will add up a and b and return that number. So let me call this method in my start method. I will call it using calculator. Pass the parameter. Let me call 10 and 20. So I have passed these two arguments for the parameters a and b, and I will capture the result in int. Let me call it sum, and I will print the sum variable. If I run this program, we are getting the 30 because we are adding up 10 and 20 and returning that. So program is working as expected. So let's say the requirement is we want to return the product of these two number also. Using the return type, we can return only one value. But if we use out parameters, we can return multiple values from a method. Let's see how. Let me add two out parameters, out int addition and out integer product. Okay. And I will remove my return statement. What I can do now, if you see here, we are getting an error message. Let's read the error message, what it says. It says the out parameter addition must be assigned to before control leaves the current method. Similarly, the same error message is coming for the product parameter also. Basically, it means we have to assign this parameter to some value. So let's set the parameters addition equal to a plus b and product equal to a multiply b. So we have assigned the parameter to the correct output. So let's see how we can invoke this method. And one more thing, we can now remove the return type because we don't need this anymore. We can change it back to void. Okay, let's see how we can invoke this method and get the output from it. I will declare variable addition result and product result. Fine. And then I can call my calculator method. I will pass 10 and 20. I will pass my addition result parameter and I will pass my product result parameter. Because these are out parameter, I have to specify the out keyword, out, and here also. Let's print these two variables. Console.writeLine addition. I will use the addition result parameter, and for the product I will use the product variable. Okay, so we have a method that uses 4 parameters. 2 are value type parameters and 2 are out parameters, and we are setting up our out parameters at line number 23 and line number 25, and we are calling that method and printing out the result. Let's see what will happen when we run it. As you can see, we are getting addition at 30 and product as 200. So this is how we can make use of out parameters. The difference between the ref keyword and the out keyword is that in case of ref keyword, we don't have to mandatorily assign the variable to some value. But in case of out keyword, it is mandatory to assign the values. If we don't assign the value, compiler will give us the error. If I comment out this line, you can see again we are getting that error. The parameter out, the out parameter addition must be assigned to before control leaves the control method. So guys, this is the basic difference between the ref and out keyword. Next type of parameter is in parameter, that is also known as read only parameter. Let me show how I can use it. Let's say I have a method That is a static method that will not return anything. So I will use void, and I have the method name change me. And let's say I have string name, and I will call it as in parameter. Okay, so let me call this method change me, and I will pass some name, maybe hello. Okay. So let me try to change the name variable in this pair method. Name equal to Peter. If you see here, we're getting the error message already. If I hover over here, I can see the message. Cannot assign to variable name or use it as the right hand side of a ref assignment because it is a read-only variable. So guys, if we are declaring a parameter as in parameter, it means it will be a read-only parameter and we won't be able to change that parameter. So this is the benefit of using the in parameter. If we don't want our method to manipulate the parameter that it is getting, we can declare the parameters as in type. But because this is a read-only parameter, we can still access this variable and perform some read operation. So let me go ahead and print this name as it is. We can see hello is getting printed because we are able to access the parameter name. Next parameter that we have, that is optional parameter, or that is also known as default parameter. As the name suggests, if we want some parameter of a method to be optional, that we can do by using the optional parameter. Suppose I want to make name parameter as optional. What I can do, I can put the equal to operator and pass some default value to it. Let's say Peter. Okay. If I don't pass the argument for the name parameter, it will take the Peter as default value. So let me remove the value here and now run this program. We can see Peter is getting printed even though we didn't pass any parameter to it. And if I pass some parameter, let me say Roger, this time the parameter which was passed while invoking it, that will take the priority and we will ignore the default parameter. That's why we can see Roger is getting printed. So guys, this is how we can use the optional or default parameters. Next one is dynamic parameters. Okay, let's create a method. Let me go ahead and call this method sum. Let's call 5 and 7. So if I call this method, we can see we are getting 12 as the output, which is expected. So now let's say a requirement is I want to pass, instead of 5, I want to pass 5.1 and 7.5. What will happen in this case? You can see the error is coming, cannot convert from double to int because I'm trying to pass the double parameter, but the method is expecting an integer type variable. For such cases, we can make use of dynamic parameters. Let me change it to dynamic and this also to dynamic. Okay, so you can see after adding the dynamic keyword, the error is gone, and now the compiler is not checking the type of the variable. Basically, when we run this application, so at the runtime, it will pick the parameters and set the type at that time. So if I run this program, we can see it is correctly adding up the two numbers, adding up the two double numbers 5.1 and 7.5 and giving us the result, that is 12.6. So this is how you can use the dynamic parameters. But guys, there is a disadvantage of using the dynamic keyword because now our methods are not type safe. Let's say if I try to pass some invalid data here, let's say ABC, we are not getting any compilation error. If I try to build this application, you can see we are getting the message build one succeeded. But if I run this program, let's see what will happen. We will get some weird result. We are getting ABC 7.5. Next type of parameter is the array parameter. Okay, I'm creating an add method that will take two parameters for now, int a, int b, and it will print the result of this addition. And I can call this add method 10, 90, and if I run this program, we will get 100. We are getting 100 here. So the program is working. But let's say now the requirement is I want to add up, let's say 5 numbers, 50, 30, and 60. So if you see here, we're getting the error message here. No overload of for method add takes 5 argument. If you don't know what is overload, don't worry, we will understand overload and override in the future videos. But if you see the error here, it says there is no method that takes 5 arguments because our method can take only 2 arguments, right? So in order to handle these kind of situations, what we can do, we can make use of array parameters. To create an array parameter, I have to use params keyword. Then I need to specify which type of parameters I will be getting. So in this case, I will be getting the integer type, and I can say numbers. So I'm collecting all the numbers in my numbers array, and I'm iterating through all the numbers, adding those numbers in the sum variable to get the final output. So let me go ahead and run this program. We can see we are getting the 240. The addition of these 5 numbers is 240. So guys, this is how you can use the array type parameters in C#. One thing to notice here, the parameters array that we have in a method, that should be the last parameter of a method. If I try to add a parameter in front of my parameter array, that will not give an issue. That is fine. We can add a parameter in front of our parameters array. But if I try to add my parameter after the parameter array, it will give me a compilation error. We can see the error message here. A params parameter must be the last parameter in a parameter list. One more thing, we can only have one parameter array in a method. If we try to add one more parameter array, we will get the compilation error. We can see a parameters must be the last parameter in the parameter list. Okay guys, now let's understand the difference between an argument and a parameter. If you notice here, I have a method with the name volume, and I am passing 3 parameters to it: length, width, and height. And I'm calling my method at line number 15, and I'm passing the arguments 10, 20, and 30. So guys, the 10, 20, and 30 are the arguments, are known as arguments, and the int length, width, and height are known as the parameters. So these are the parameters, and for these parameters we are passing these arguments. So guys, this is the basic difference between an argument and parameter. Okay guys, let's now understand the named parameter, how we can pass the parameter by name. Okay, let's create a method public static int area that will take int length, int width, right, and it will return the length into width. Okay, so this is how we can calculate the area. Okay, let's call this method. Let me call area 100 into 300. Okay, let's capture this in a variable. Okay, now we can see we are getting the 30,000 as the output. But now let's say when we are calling this method area, we want to specify 100 belongs to length and 300 belongs to width. So to specify that, we can make use of named parameter. We can do length, and then we can use a colon, and we can specify the length parameter 20, and then we can specify the width also using the name of the parameter. So guys, this is how you can pass the parameter using the name of the parameter. These are called named parameters. The benefit of using named parameter is that we can even change the sequence of these parameters. So if I pass the width first and then the length, then also it will work. Basically, now we are passing the parameter using the name of it. If I run the program, let me change the length to 20. We are getting 600 as expected. One thing to notice here, guys, once we have used one named parameter, we have to use the second parameter is also as a named. If we try to pass that second parameter without the name, it will start giving us the error. If you read here, named argument width is used out of the position, but is followed by an unnamed argument. Also, if you're using the one named parameter, we have to use the other one also as the named parameter, or we have to maintain the sequence. Let's say I will pass the length as 40, and then I can pass my width parameter by name, maybe 30. So that we can do, but if we are changing the sequence of the parameter, then in that case, all the parameters should be named parameter. Okay guys, we have seen the value type parameters, we have seen the ref type parameters, we have also seen the out type parameters, we have also seen the read only parameters that we can use using in keyword. We have also seen the optional or also known as default parameters. We have also seen how we can use dynamic keyword and create dynamic parameters. And the last parameter type that we saw was the parameter arrays. That's it for this video guys. In the next video, we will learn about namespace.